So we'll start with verse 2. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha
Shri Bhagavan Vacha
Kutastva Kashmalam Midam
Utasva Kashmalamidam
Vishame Samupasthitam
Vishame Samuvasthitam
Anarya Jushtam Aswargyam
Anaryajushtam Asvargyam
Akirti Karamarjuna.
Akirti Karamarjuna.
So till now we saw Arjuna has been giving all kinds of excuses, and he put his bow down and he said to Lord Krishna, now I shall not fight. Okay. So Lord Krishna then, looks at him as a friend would. He is not at this stage still talking to Arjuna in the form of a guru. Okay. He's still talking to him as a friend because Arjuna hasn't surrendered to him yet. He hasn't said, okay, now you teach me. Right now, all Arjuna has done is he has given all his excuses. He has given all the different explanations for why fighting is not recommended. He hasn't asked any questions, and he hasn't said, okay, guide me, Krishna. Okay. So Krishna turns to him and talks to him as a friend would talk to another friend. He says, oh, Arjuna. Now, the word Arjuna itself is very telling here. He says, Arjuna basically means white. The word Arjuna means white, pure, upright, honest. So, you are Arjuna. You are purity. Then how is it that you have such impure thoughts in your head? And that is the first thing Krishna says. Kuttaha. Kuttaha means kaha se. From where? Tva kashmalam idam. Malam. Malam means dirt. From where has all these dirty thoughts come into your mind? Vishame samupastitam. Visham. हम कहते हैं ना विषम समय में. Vishama means, oh, it's dangerous times. It's calamitous times. And at this time, you have all these dirty thoughts. You don't want to fight. You don't want to do your duty. You are Arjuna. And hey, Anarya Jushtam. Anarya. Now, this is a very interesting word. Arya. Okay. So the word Arya or Aryan, as it's now said, so Aryan basically means one who understands what is right and what is wrong. One who understands the value of human life. So when we say the value of human life, it does not mean, oh, human life is so precious, so I shouldn't kill it. Even though that person is being a terrorist, I shouldn't kill him. That is not the value of human life. An Aryan is one who knows that this life is to be used to understand that I need to serve the Supreme Lord. I need to answer the questions, who am I? What is my relationship with someone who is superior to me? Who is superior to me? Who has created me? What is my duty towards that person? So the person who actually utilizes his human life to answer these questions, he is known as Aryan. And he therefore knows that wasting time in other pursuits is wrong. And by saying Anarya here, what Lord Sri Krishna is saying is, by doing our duty too, we are going to progress. on our spiritual path. So by saying that you are not going to fight, you are acting in an anarya way. Okay, so anarya jushtam. So this kind of thought is that which is practiced or voiced by people who are not Arya, who don't understand that the human form of life is so precious. And he says, Akirti karam. Kirti means fame. Akirti means no fame, infamy. By doing such a deed, you are going to bring infamy upon yourself. And not just yourself, but on me as well. I'm sitting here with you. People are going to say, Hare, the great Sri Lord Krishna was sitting over there. And even then, Arjuna didn't do his duty. How can you do that? I am here. How can you talk like this? Yeah. So, here Prabhupada again brings out, the Brahma, Paramatma, and Bhagavan features, which we have discussed earlier. So I would request you all to please go through this, the purport, and also, the definition of Bhagavan. So all that we have already talked about earlier about who is Bhagavan is all brought out here. Okay. And he says, in the presence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Arjuna's lamentation for his kinsman is certainly unbecoming, and therefore Krishna expressed his surprise with the word kutaha, where from. Such impurities were never expected from a person belonging to the civilized class of men known as Aryans. The word Aryan is applicable to persons who know the value of life and have a civilization based on spiritual realization. Okay. Persons who are led by the material conception of life do not know that the aim of life is realization of the absolute truth, Vishnu or Bhagavan. And they are captivated by the external features of the material world, and therefore they do not know what liberation is. Persons who have no knowledge of liberation from material bondage are called non-Aryans. Although Arjuna was a Kshatriya, he was deviating from his prescribed duties by declining to fight. This act of cowardice is described as befitting the non-Aryans. Such deviation from duty does not help one in the progress of spiritual life, nor does it give one the opportunity to become famous in this world. And so Lord Krishna did not approve of the so-called compassion of Arjuna for his kinsman. Okay. Shall we move on to text 3? Okay. Klaibyam masmagama partha
Klaibyammasmagamah partha
naitattvayupapadyate
naitattvayupapadyate
ksudram hridaya daurbalyam
shudram hridaya daurbalyam
tyaktotishtha parantapa.
yoktishta parantapa.
And now, वो कहते हैं ना, दोस्तों के बीच में गाली होती है. So between two friends, they can abuse one another, they can call each other names. So here, the first word Krishna uses is klaibyam ma smagamaha. Don't be an impotent person, Arjuna. Now that is a huge gali for a Kshatriya. Kshatriyas are powerful beings. Okay? And calling a Kshatriya impotent is equal to killing him. In those days, Kshatriyas would actually have many wives and many children. So calling Arjuna, and Arjuna too had many wives and many children. Okay? So calling Arjuna an impotent person. And immediately what does Krishna call him? He calls him Partha. He says, you belong to my family, my aunt's son, your auntie Pritha's son. Partha, you belong to the family of Shuras, Shurasena, and so on. And look at you talking like an impotent person. Klaibyam masmagama. And he says, Naitat na etat tvayi upapadyate. Upapadyate. This is not the right padavi for you. This is not the right title for you. This kind of action does not befit a warrior like yourself. Stop acting in this manner. And he says, Chudram. This is so petty, the way you're behaving. It is not the act of a mighty warrior. It's so petty. Chudram. Hridaya daurbalyam. You may look very strong, Arjuna, but look at your heart. You're so weak. You don't have any bravery. You see these people and you want to run away? What kind of a warrior are you? Shudram hridaya daurbalyam tyaktva uttishta parantapa. You are parantapa. Parantapa means you are the one who can kill all your enemies. Yeah? You are the most powerful person. So, tyaktva, giving up this petty weakness of the heart, uttishta parantapa, stand up and fight. Okay. So here he says, O son of Pritha, do not yield to this degrading impotence. It does not become you. Give up such petty weakness of heart and arise, O chastiser of the enemy. Okay. And here Prabhupada says, Arjuna might argue that he would give up the battle on the grounds of his magnanimous attitude for the most respectable Bhishma and his relatives. But Krishna considered that sort of magnanimity mere weakness of heart. Okay. So we were talking about compassion and false compassion. So this is what Krishna is bringing out here by saying Kshudram Hridaya Daurbalyam. By showing compassion like this, I don't think it's compassion. I think it's just weakness of heart. You don't want to do your duty. Text 4. Arjuna uvacha.
Arjuna
Uvacha.
Katham bhishmam maham sankhye.
Katham Bhishmam Sankhe.
Dronam cha madhusudana.
Dronam cha Madhusudana.
Ishubhi pratiyotsyami.
Ishubhi Pratyotsami.
Pujarha varisudana.
Pujarha Varisudana.
Katham, Arjuna uvacha. Arjuna says, Katham, how? Bhishmam aham sankhye dronam cha he madhusudana ishubhihi pratiyotsyami te pujarhava. So, how, O Madhusudana, O Arisudana? Okay, now here Arjuna is still trying his best to get Krishna on his side, okay? So first he calls him Madhusudana. Madhusudana we already saw earlier, okay? The killer of the demon Madhu, and therefore please kill the demon in me. Now he also calls him Arisudana. Ari means enemy. You are the killer of enemies. You are already killing all your enemies, right? You started with Putana. You don't even care whether your enemy is a woman or not. You have no problem. You can kill Putana, you can kill a woman. So you kill all enemies, whether it's a woman, whether it's a bird, Bakasura, whether it's an animal, Keshi, whether it's a demon, Madhu, you don't care. You see enemy, you kill. Now you see these are my enemies, right? And you're my friend, right? Don't make me kill, you kill, no? So by calling Krishna Arisudana, Arjuna is trying to tell Krishna, don't make me kill. You do the killing. You are so good at it. You've already done so much killing in your life. From the time you were born, from the time you were really little, 1 week old, you killed Putana. So for you, there is no problem killing. You kill. He says, but how am I going to kill Bhishma, Drona, with my arrows, Ishubhihi? How can I kill them with my arrows? Sankhya, in a fight. Oh Madhusudana, oh Arisudana. Why? Why can't you kill them? Oh, because they are pujarhav. They are worthy of my worship. They are worshipable. I'm supposed to worship them. That is my grandfather, great grandfather. And this is my teacher. How am I going to kill them with my arrows? How can you expect me to do something like this? If you think they are enemies, if you think they are bad people, you go ahead and kill them. So, and here it says, respectable superiors like Bhishma, the grandfather, and Dronacharya, the teacher, are always worshipable. Even if they attack, they should not be counterattacked. It is general etiquette that superiors are not to be offered even a verbal fight. Even if they are sometimes harsh in behavior, they should not be harshly treated. Then how is it possible for Arjuna to counterattack them? Would Krishna ever attack his own grandfather, Ugrasena, or his teacher, Sandipani Muni? These were some of the arguments offered by Arjuna to Krishna. Okay. Text 5. Gurun hatva hi mahanubhavan
Gurun
Guru
ahatva hi
Hatvahi
mahanubhavan
Mahabhavan
Shreyo bhoktum bhakshamapiha loke
Shreyo
Shreyam
bhoktum
Bhoktum
vaishtam apiha
Bhikshamapiha
loke
Loke
hatvartha kamamsta gurunihaiva
Atvartha kamamstu
Hatvarthakamamsta
gurunihaiva
Gurunihaiva
bhunjiya bhogan rudira pradigdan.
Punjiya
Gunjiya
bhogan
Bhogan
pradigtan
Puniripadiktam
Gurun ahatva hi gurun mahanubhavan gurun ahatva shreyah bhoktum bhaikshyamapi pradigtam. So he says, better than killing great souls like my guru Mahanubhavan, better Shreyaha is that I become a bhikhari, bhaikshyam, bhiksha, that I start to beg. I should just go for bhikshahatanam. I should just go start begging and I can live off that. He says, Hatva artha kamam. He says, the gain that I, by desiring to kill them for gains, for my personal gain, I think that is very bad. Okay. Why? Because bhunjiya bhogan rudhira pradigdan. What I'm going to enjoy is going to be tainted by their blood, rudhira. Says, by killing these people, if I'm going to kill them because I want a kingdom, because I want to enjoy a kingdom, so we come back again to Arjuna wanting to enjoy, okay? So he says, if I need to enjoy my kingdom, I can't do it. Not when it's tainted by their blood. These are people who are worshipable. These are people who are great. Mahanubhavan. And they are gurus, gurun. They are my gurus. By killing them, how can I enjoy anything at all? It would be better to live in this world by begging than to live at the cost of the lives of great souls who are my teachers. Even though desiring worldly gain, they are superiors. If they are killed, everything we enjoy will be tainted with blood. Now, there is a saying in the scriptures, a teacher who engages in an abominable action and has lost his sense of discrimination is fit to be abandoned. But Arjuna thinks that nevertheless they remain his superiors, and therefore to enjoy material profits after killing them would mean to enjoy spoils tainted with blood. Text 6. न चैतद्विद्म कतरन्नो गरीयो
Nai
Udit
satadvidma kataranno gariyo.
Gariyo
यद्वा जयेम यदि वा न जयेयुः
Yatva
Yudva
jayeme
Jayema
yatva
Yadivana
jaye.
Nijayu Jayu
यानेव हत्वा न जिजीविषामस्
Yanyeva
Yaneva
hatva
Hatva Jiji
nanjijivamas.
Vishama
तेव स्थिता प्रमुखे धार्तराष्ट्राः
Devastita
Devastita
pramukhe
Pramukhe
dhartarashtraha.
Dhartarashtraha
Says nurture etad vidmaha. Now the word vidmaha means we know. So, and we also don't know. Kataranna gariyaha, what is better for us? Whether we should conquer them, jayema, or whether we should be conquered by them, jayeyuhu. So here now he has absolutely no clue what he's doing. He's completely undecided. He says, I don't know. Okay. And in fact, here he doesn't just say, I don't know. He says, with maha, which is plural. We don't know. Okay. So he's taking Krishna also. He's saying, we don't know what is right. We don't know whether it's better that we should conquer them, or we don't know better if they should conquer us. Why? Because after killing them, how would we want to even live? Now, this is a typical situation, isn't it? When we face a problem and we want to follow a particular line of action, what do? We start looking for supporters, right? So we look around and we say, oh, you know what? We're supposed to do this, but ऐसा तो नहीं करना चाहिए ना? If we do things like this, it's not good for us, isn't it? And then there'll be one or two others who'll probably say, oh, yeah, you're right. And then all of us will go traipsing down the wrong path. So this is where a guru comes into play. When we don't know what is right for us, what is wrong for us, what action needs to be taken, what action we should not take. To guide us is where we turn to somebody who can actually guide us from the scriptures, who has the knowledge of the scriptures, who has realized those scriptures, and therefore is in a position to guide us. Now, what do we mean by somebody who has realized the scriptures? Okay. For one thing, how and also how do we recognize such a person? So somebody who has realized the scriptures is someone who's actually using the scriptures every day in their life, in how they live. Okay. So in order to recognize such a person, of course, the first thing is that we need to have some small amount of knowledge of the scriptures at least. Otherwise, how will you recognize somebody? How will we even know what scripture they are following? Is it a scripture that they themselves have created? Okay. So to that end, definitely we need a little bit of knowledge. Then when somebody is saying something and we want to know if they are saying it correctly, the next step is to check with somebody else who is also a sadhu. So there are three levels of checks that we can perform. Okay. So if we want to do something in our life and we need some guidance, the first we go is Guru. To figure out if the Guru is saying correctly, we can ask another sadhu. Okay. And when we say sadhu, of course, it needs to come in the same disciplic line. Otherwise, what's going to happen if we are in the Vaishnava line and we go and ask somebody else who is in a different line? For instance, a Muslim mullah is also a sadhu. He may be leading a very different, very pious life. But going off and asking him is not going to solve our problems. So we need to actually go in the same disciplic line. Okay. So you have Guru, you have Sadhu. And the third is Shastra. To figure out whether both the Guru and the Sadhu are saying correctly, we pick up the Shastra. We pick up the Bhagavad Gita, we pick up the Bhagavatam, the Vedas, the Upanishads. So what does this mean? This means that there is a certain level of responsibility on ourselves. That responsibility is to actually go and gain that knowledge somehow. Yeah. So first, here you have Arjuna saying, I'm confused. I'm totally undecided. I don't know whether I want to fight or I don't want to fight. If I fight, I may win. If I win, there'll be no one to enjoy. If I lose, then I lose. If I don't fight, I'll go begging. And then everybody's going to laugh at me anyways. Even then, I don't have any enjoyment. So Arjuna's complete focus is still on enjoyment. His decisions are being based purely on personal enjoyment, which is what we all do. Why? Because when we need to do something which brings us pain, we automatically move away from it. And in today's world, of course, happiness is a status symbol. Don't you think? It doesn't matter how unhappy you are expected to plaster a smile and go out. And if you're always smiling, you are a great person. Such a person is always smiling. Such a person is definitely self-realized. It doesn't matter if a few months down the line that person goes off and commits suicide or goes off his mind and kills somebody. But today, everybody is focused towards their own happiness, which is why we do have a lot of self-help gurus. We have a lot of meditation, mindfulness, everything happening. I'm not saying it's all wrong. What I'm saying is the focus of all this is purely self-enjoyment, purely to reach that state where everyone is able to say, oh, look at Lakshmi. She's the happiest person on earth. She's always smiling. And therefore, I'm very happy. I've got that recognition. When am I unhappy? When I'm expected to do something that is very unpopular. Say, for instance, as a manager, and there are a number of you here who are managing businesses or, people under you. There are times when you have to do the unpopular thing. You have to yell at somebody, you have to tell them off, you have to, whatever needs to be done needs to be done. You have to fire somebody. But if you kept thinking, oh no, if I do that, I'm going to be the unpopular person, and therefore I need somebody else to do it for me, which is what Arjuna has just said. He's called Krishna Arisudana. He says, I don't want to do that. You go kill them. Or as Arjuna is saying, by doing these things, I'm going to lose my enjoyment. So when it comes to making hard decisions, when it comes to doing the hard thing, if we pull back, if we don't do our duty, that is wrong. And so if our focus is purely on self-enjoyment, purely on the comfort of ourselves, that is very wrong. So then how do we know what to do in a situation like that? So of course, when it comes to businesses, we all have, we either have mentors or we've been to business schools, we know what needs to happen. We take help from somebody who's in the business, who probably has faced a problem like that before. So when it comes to spiritual life, what do we do then? Most of us aren't even focused on our spiritual life. So when we start to focus and we come across problems, then we either jump onto the internet and look for answers, YouTube, look for answers. But how do we know that those answers are the right answers? Which brings us back to knowledge. So there is a certain level of responsibility that rests on our shoulders. We need to learn. We need to talk to the right kinds of people. We need to be able to recognize those people. And so coming back to recognizing somebody who's self-realized, one symptom is, yes, of course, that they are using that in their own life. And the second is, in fact, Prabhupada puts it very nicely in one of his lectures or letters. He says, a self-realized person is one who can present the philosophy very simply. Think about it. When you hear an expert talking about their subject, they make it sound so easy, so simple, and you understand everything that they are saying because they are so expert at it. And the person who is not expert, If you, my father always has a saying, if you can't convince, confuse. If you can't convince somebody, confuse them. That is what somebody who is not an expert will do. Why? Because they have no knowledge themselves. How are they expected to give you any knowledge or convince us? That's not going to happen. But they need to sound big. So you will have all these long words, big words, words that it doesn't matter how many times you listen to it, you will never understand. So how do we know that somebody is an expert or self-realized? When they are able to present this philosophy so simply, so elegantly, that anybody is able to read it and understand it, or listen to it and understand it. And I can't think of a better example than Srila Prabhupada, who has taken such complex pieces of knowledge and presented it so easily, so simply, that all it requires is for us to pick up the book and read through it. So coming back to the verse, so this is where you have Arjuna. This is the fifth reason. Remember, we had 5 reasons for Arjuna not fighting. The first was C, compassion. Second was E,
Enjoyment.
enjoyment. Very good. Then
Sinful reaction.
sinful reaction. Excellent. D,
Destruction of family values.
destruction of family values. And now the fifth one, which is indecision. Okay. So here we have indecision. Na vidmaha, we don't know. We don't know what to do. Should we fight? Should we not fight? What should we do? Nor do we know which is better, conquering them or being conquered by them. If we kill the sons of Dhritarashtra, we should not care to live. Yet they are now standing before us on the battlefield. What should we do? What should we do? What should we do? Now here Prabhupada talks about qualities required for liberation. All these considerations by Arjuna. So which are the considerations? Compassion, enjoyment, sinful reaction, destruction of family values, and indecision. Indecision based on all these, right? So all these considerations by Arjuna definitely proved that not only was he a great devotee of the Lord, but he was also highly enlightened and had complete control over his mind and senses. His desire to live by begging, although he was born in the royal household, is another sign of detachment. Now, how do we know that he had complete control over his mind and senses? He was willing to give up everything and go beg. He was not sitting there saying, oh, but I'm used to a nice fluffy bed and opulent meals, oh, and ghee with everything. So how can I go? I have to fight. No, no, no. He says, I don't care about all that. I'll just go beg. He was truly virtuous, as these qualities combined with his faith in the words of instruction of Lord Shri Krishna, his spiritual master, indicate. So another quality is that he had complete faith in the words of Shri Krishna, who will also become his guru. So complete faith in the words of the guru, in the words of Shri Krishna, is very essential. Of course, this, like I said, who is the guru? There is a certain level of examination that needs to happen before accepting that person. You have to make sure that they come in the line, in the disciplic line, that they are saying the same thing as other sadhus and the Shastra. Okay. Then it is concluded that Arjuna was quite fit for liberation. Unless the senses are controlled, there is no chance of elevation to the platform of knowledge. And without knowledge and devotion, there is no chance of liberation. So this is important to note. Unless the senses are controlled, there is no chance of gaining knowledge. What does that mean? So senses. So we have our 5 senses, right? The Jnanendriyas. These are the ones that are constantly gathering knowledge. But what knowledge are they gathering? That is very important. So if they are very busy gathering all kinds of mundane knowledge, all kinds of worldly knowledge, and not busy enough in gathering spiritual knowledge, remember we said we need to have a little knowledge in order to learn a little bit to even recognize that it's right or wrong? Even that's not going to happen. Then what happens? Okay, so you have, those are the Jnanendriyas. Then you have the Karmendriyas. The eyes, nose, mouth, ears, the hands, feet. These are the Karmendriyas. These are always doing things. And above this is the mind. The mind is always running here, there, asking, grabbing, looking, searching. But for what? Material enjoyment. So when the senses are out of control, getting knowledge is not going to be easy. In fact, it's well nigh impossible. So then, if you don't have that knowledge, how can you practice? Then the practice is what brings the devotion. Practice what? Practice all the tasks that are required to build that relationship with the Lord. And that practice of those tasks is called bhakti. What is bhakti? Prabhupada later on defines it. He says bhakti is loving, devotional service. So just love, oh, I love the Lord, I love the Lord, I love the Lord. Yes, even saying that is really good. But then over and above that, what are we doing? I love the Lord, but then we go off and we do whatever gives us enjoyment. Oh, I like to eat meat. I'm going to go do that. Oh, I want to go to the pub. I'll go off and do that. If we are breaking our dharmic principles, that of course is the grossest level. Then there are other levels. Oh, I don't feel like doing anything today, so I won't do it. So we are back to my enjoyment. So loving, devotional service. So without knowledge and devotion, there is no chance of liberation. Liberation from the cycle of birth and death. So Prabhupada concludes by saying Arjuna was competent in all these attributes, over and above his enormous attributes in his material relationships. And so he has all the qualities that are required for liberation. So we are going to stop here. Any questions? So we'll stop here and we'll catch up again next week. Thank you very, very much.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
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 Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Sorry?
Very nice. Very beautiful. I really, really enjoyed that. Beautiful. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.